Hello there, this is the Shadow Ranger. I'm going to answer two questions that I got here. First is from BlackRock316. It says, why is WWE blaming The Miz? According to F4WOnline.com, the plan was for The Miz to be inserted back into the WWE title picture in January. This plan didn't happen, and it seems to stem from the lower number of buys that Survivor Series drew in November. The blame was placed more on The Miz, who teamed with R-Truth against The Rock and John Cena. It was the first match for The Rock in over 7 years, and it is estimated to have drawn 260,000 buys worldwide. Out of those 260,000, only 160,000 came from the United States. Maybe I'm missing something here, but I thought this was the way WWE was booking The Miz and R-Truth. They were booking them week going into the pay-per-view. Who should they put the blame on? I say creative. Like, I think 3 weeks before the pay-per-view, John Cena beat up The Miz and R-Truth by himself. And I remember people saying, if John Cena beat them both by himself tonight, then why does he need The Rock? I don't think The Miz and R-Truth were booked strong enough. I really think they should have been more dominant. I think they should have been beating the crap out of John Cena like every week to really sell the point that Cena needs The Rock, that he can't beat them on his own. But there's a lot of reasons to account for the lower the buy rate. I mean, off the bat, it's still tough economic times in America. Not everybody can afford to buy pay-per-views. Them pay-per-views are pretty expensive. They're like $50, $60 for HD. It's November. It's close to Christmas. People, doing their Christmas shopping with, whatever money that they do have. That's a big thing people aren't thinking about. Yeah, I really can't say. I mean, I wouldn't blame The Miz. I don't think you could blame any one person. I mean, the smallest star in the match was R-Truth, so you would think that he would get more blame than anyone else. Maybe someone bigger should have been The Miz's partner. That's a tough question, but I really don't know why. Why people would say it was The Miz's fault. I really don't. I question if that story is really true. That internally they're saying it's The Miz's fault that it didn't draw bigger. It's another question. I mean, I saw this report, but I really didn't give it any thought. It's not something I gave any thought to. Turning 60,000 buys ain't bad. I would say economy's bad. It's in November. People probably saving money to do their Christmas shopping. There's a lot of reasons people might not have bought the pay-per-view. And I'll leave it at that. Second question was from Ecstasy69. This was actually a comment he left on the video I did where I was asked to fantasy book TNA from Against All Odds up through Slammiversary, and he asked me how about booking Royal Rumble to WrestleMania, and then he asked me why do I give a disclaimer when I do for these kind of videos that have fantasy booking. So I'll answer both. As for fantasy booking Royal Rumble to WrestleMania, I gotta be honest, I don't know if I can do that. I'm not really. The reason I rarely do fantasy booking of WWE videos is because WWE just doesn't inspire me to be creative the way TNA does. TNA has you know, more characters, more gimmicks. It's more storyline driven, so it inspires me to fantasy book more, and there's more material to work with. There's not as much material to work with to do fantasy booking with WWE. Plus, when you talk about WrestleMania, almost everything's already set. We know Cena versus The Rock. We know there's going to be an Undertaker match. It's looking like it might be Triple H. It could be someone else. I'd probably like to see it be Mick Foley if Taker's going to win. I'd like to see it be a newer guy who could use the rub if he's going to lose. I'm not interested in seeing Taker and Triple H again. I'd like to see Taker, Mick Foley. See, you know, Foley become Mankind one last time. That's what I'd like to see. We know Sheamus won the Rumble. He'll be challenging probably Daniel Bryan. The Big Show might be in another celebrity match with Shaq. They're talking about. Money in the Bank's coming back. Punk versus Jericho. So much of it's set. So maybe what I'll do is try to look at like the undercard and just kind of focus on the undercard, and just kind of come up with a few storylines for some undercard matches. You know, what's the U.S. champion gonna be doing? Intercontinental champion, the tag titles, the Divas Championship. I might look something along that line. Again, even though with them, not a whole lot to work with, but I'll see what I can do. As for the second question, why do I give disclaimers when I do fantasy booking videos? Very, very simple. One of my biggest pet peeves with the IWC and people who do wrestling online is people who talk like they can book wrestling better than the people who do it. One, these are people who never worked in the wrestling business, never seen a booking meeting, and really only they think that what they like everyone will like, and they try to speak with fans. The problem I have with with some of the people on YouTube, especially the more popular ones, and I don't have to name names, but you know them if you listen to them, is that when people get really popular on YouTube talking wrestling, they start thinking they can dictate the business, and that really annoys me. This is just supposed to be us people sharing their ideas for fun. This isn't supposed to be some people acting like they can run the business better and that they know what everybody likes. And I get sick of the people who think they can speak for me, who think they can speak for everybody else just because they're popular on YouTube and they get a whole lot of views. It doesn't mean you better than anybody else. It doesn't mean you get to dictate the business. And I've talked to some of these guys, and just the arrogance, just, I wish I could send my fist through the internet and punch them in the face, because it annoys me so much. It's people who I had to stop like watching their videos because of it, just because they got just think of some of the most popular guys on YouTube, and just they get to the point where they think they just know so much, even though they've never worked a day in the wrestling business. And I don't want to be perceived as one of those douchebags, because I can't stand those people, and I don't want to be perceived as one of them. That's why I put the disclaimer, because I don't think I can do the job better than the people who are paid to do it by either WWE or TNA or Ring of Honor or any indie promotion. I've never worked in the business a day in my life. I've never even been to a live wrestling show. I've just watched wrestling on TV for many years. I don't think I can do the job better, and I don't think that just because I like something, everyone else is going to like it. It does make me feel good when I do share some of my ideas and I get positive feedback, people saying that they do like it. That's nice, but that's just a few people on the internet. I don't try to delude myself into thinking that just because I like an idea and some of the people who listen to my video like it, that if you put it on TV, the millions of people who watch wrestling are gonna like it. And I get, again, I've had conversations with these arrogant douches who think they know what everybody thinks, that if they write, everybody will think it, that they speak for the majority. And it's like 3 million people a week watch WWE. About 1.5 million watch TNA. And I'm assuming, so assuming that the 1.5 million who watch TNA every week are some of the same people who watch WWE, we're looking at slightly over 3 to 4 million people. I'd say about 3.5 million people watching wrestling every week. And I think it's really arrogant that somebody's going to sit there and say, and I'm not pulling, I've actually talked to some of these dudes, and they've actually said this to me, that they speak for the majority. And I think it's pretty fucking arrogant that some of these people think that they speak for the majority, that they know what 3.5 million wrestling fans a week want, that they know what the IWC all wants, and they know what all the casual fans want. And they think that they can, and they think that they could, that they just booked for the IWC, that everything's going to be alright. They completely ignore that the reason that Vince McMahon is so successful because he does cater to some of the casual fans, the regular people, the people who aren't on all the wrestling websites and listening to the wrestling radio shows and the podcast the way we do. And those people annoy me so much, and I don't want to be associated with them. Me giving the disclaimer is not just some gimmick. It's something that I think needs to be said. I say it because I believe it needs to be said. And I don't think that I can write or book wrestling better than the writers or the bookers of any wrestling promotion. That I am only sharing my ideas. I'm sharing something that I thought of that I would be entertained by. The stuff I write, stuff that I would like to see. And I don't want to delude myself or be so arrogant that I'm just Barry Horowitz style patting myself on the back that the stuff I come up with everybody's gonna like. That's the reason I use the disclaimer. That's why I will continue to use a disclaimer. It's important that I put that out there. It's important to me, and I think it would do other people some good to give that some thought. Because I like sharing my ideas. I like sharing my creativity. You know, if I ever got the chance to write for a wrestling show, I'd jump at the chance to give it a shot and see how I could do. But I wouldn't know how well I did until I actually would start writing for an actual wrestling program and my ideas actually be played out on TV and see what the result is. Maybe the stuff I come up with, I could put it out there on TV and it would suck. And I do think that sometimes. Maybe if I took like my After Immortal ideas and we actually put them on TNA TV and they did them, I would listen to all the wrestling radio shows and all the critics and they would shit on it and say, "Oh, that's awful, it sucked." It's a way to show that I'm not being arrogant, that I'm just sharing my ideas. And that's something that's important to me to do. So to answer your question, XT69, in a nutshell, I hate the arrogant people on any IWC who think and talk like they could do the job better than everybody else. I don't want to be seen as one of those guys, and that's why I use the disclaimer. But getting back to the other part about fantasy booking up through WrestleMania. I want to just focus on the undercard and some of the mid-card titles. So I think what I might do is just kind of do some of it right here off the top of my head. I think that could be fun. So what I'm going to do right now is that I am right now going over to the WWE roster page. And I'm going through people and present ideas as I go. Rumor is WrestleMania, not WrestleMania, sorry. Well, first off, Elimination Chamber, both champions retain. Keep the belts on Daniel Bryan and CM Punk. I think they're building up to CM Punk versus Jericho, and that's fine. Personally, I thought the match they did on Raw, Punk versus Daniel Bryan, would have been a good match for WrestleMania. Let me go ahead and share that idea with you anyway, because I'm thinking so many people are going to be brought in by The Rock versus Cena, but you have those Ring of Honor, indie wrestling type fans who don't really give a crap about Cena versus The Rock, and that match isn't going to make them buy. So I would want to put something out there to make those guys want to buy WrestleMania. And I think CM Punk versus Daniel Bryan would have been a good secondary main event match for them. And how I would have built that up is, at Royal Rumble, John Laurinaitis would have screwed CM Punk out of the title, and Dolph Ziggler would have won the WWE Championship. Daniel Bryan would have retained the world title. CM Punk would have had CM Punk enter the Royal Rumble and win it same night. Give him a late number and he would have won it. Then they say on Raw that after Elimination Chamber, Punk can choose which champion he's going to face at WrestleMania. Put John Cena in the Raw Chamber match, and he wins the WWE title. And Dolph basically is just a transitional champion, but because he held the belt for that short time, you can always put him back in the main event because he's a former WWE champion. But Cena would have won the WWE title, and he would have basically fulfilled his promise that he was going to be the WWE champion going into WrestleMania and face The Rock for the title at WrestleMania. I unlike a lot of people, I think Cena having that belt for WrestleMania actually would be a good idea. I was against it at first, but as we got closer, I've changed my mind on that one. And the reason being, it is the main event. Cena versus The Rock is the main event. It is the main event no matter what. And no one is going to care about any other match. And people say it doesn't need the title, and that's true. But you could have a secondary title match. I mean, it's looking like it's going to be Daniel Bryan versus Sheamus for the world title. Does anyone really care? I honestly don't care to see Daniel Bryan versus Sheamus for the world title. These are the same two guys whose match wasn't enough to get on the main card last year. I think Cena and Rock for the WWE title would just add to it. I do now. One problem is though, that does convince me that Cena's gonna win, but it takes away all my doubt. But at the same time, I just couldn't see Rock winning in the first place. But anyway, I had Cena versus The Rock be for the WWE title, and of course, Punk would tease that he's gonna insert himself into that match and make it a three-way. But you have a promo between John Cena and CM Punk, and Cena basically tells Punk, says, please don't do this. And he explains to him how important this match is and why this match between him and The Rock needs to be one-on-one. And he tells him, and he kind of chronicles their entire history together, and he talks about how important this is to prove that he can beat The Rock. And I'm asking you to not do this, Punk, to challenge Daniel Bryan. And there's a whole lot of people who would love to see you and Daniel Bryan go one-on-one for the first time, because they wouldn't have had that match on Raw this week, for the first time for the world title. And you and Daniel Bryan would be a fantastic match, but I need this match with The Rock to be one-on-one. And Punk decides he'd give it a week and think about it, and the next week he comes out and says, you know what, I'm going to give you what you want, and I'm going to challenge Daniel Bryan for the world title. So you got your main events, Cena versus The Rock for the WWE title, and CM Punk versus Daniel Bryan for the world title. Because I think Punk versus Daniel Bryan would brings in, like I said, that indie wrestling fan, that ROH type fan, the guys who normally wouldn't buy WrestleMania, because I don't see a lot of those guys being excited to see Cena versus The Rock. But Punk versus Daniel Bryan for the world title at WrestleMania, those dudes would buy the pay-per-view to see that match. That would be their main event. But considering everything that happened, that's not going to happen no more. But that was an idea I thought of, and I just wanted to share it with you. But getting back to the roster page, I'm going to fantasy book this one as I go. And you're just going to hear me say my thoughts out loud as I think of this stuff. And so I don't really know how much longer this video is going to take. This could be a pretty long video. I'm already at 20 minutes. I don't know if Del Rio's going to be back in time, but if he's back in time, I would put him in the Money in the Bank match. Del Rio, Brodus Clay, Dolph Ziggler, Ted DiBiase, Truth. And I don't know who else. I'll get back to them in a minute. Big Show supposedly doing a celebrity match of him against Shaq at WrestleMania, so we'll leave that one alone. Chris Jericho. Who would be Chris Jericho's opponent for WrestleMania? Who do we got here? I want Jericho to face more of an up-and-comer type guy. Ooh, here we go. No, never mind. Scratch that. Jericho versus The Miz. That's The Miz's opponent for WrestleMania. Jericho versus Miz. Randy Orton versus Wade Barrett. They've been building that for a while. Okay, Sheamus is challenging Daniel Bryan for the world title. Zack Ryder versus Kane. I think with everything they've done with Kane and Zack Ryder and John Cena, they pretty much, I think they kind of have to do that match. Maybe Yoshitatsu could be in Money in the Bank, maybe. I don't know. But Zack Ryder versus Kane, I think, could be an undercard match. You have Zack Ryder come back, just starts attacking Kane, saying he ain't gonna be Kane's bitch, he ain't rolling over, and, you know, go for it. That's about all you need. Kevin Nash, I think you could bring him back as a possibility and have him issue an open challenge for WrestleMania, and I would have his open challenge answered by Mark Henry. I know that's a weird one, but I personally would really get into seeing that, Nash versus Mark Henry. Or if Big Show's not doing a celebrity match, Nash versus Big Show might be fun. Kane, put him in Money in the Bank. Just because it's, you know, Big Show and Kevin Nash and the Giant back in WCW had some good matches. You know, don't be trying to go for a jackknife or anything. Remember what happened last time. Leave that alone. There was rumored that Goldust wanted to face Cody Rhodes, his brother, in a title versus career match. I could see that working. Here's what you do with that. You have Cody have another run-in with Dustin backstage where he tells him off. And Dustin says, alright Cody, since you go with me, I'll face you on SmackDown next week. He comes out on SmackDown as Dustin, no face paint, and Cody beats him. Cody talks smack for a couple of weeks about it. You have Dusty come back and ask Cody, like, Cody, what's gotten into you? You're going too far. You know I supported you, but what is this? Why do you want to embarrass your brother just to prove you better than everybody? And I would have Cody slap Dusty in the face. Slap the taste out of Dusty's mouth. And Dusty just walks away as he can't believe his own son just hit him. Cody, totally remorseless, talks more smack about it for about another week. About another week later, Cody's cutting a promo in the ring, and the Goldust music hits. Gold doesn't come out, you just hear his voice. And he says, he just says in a Goldust voice, let me try to do a Goldust voice here. Imagine the Goldust music playing in the background. Cody, Big Brother is watching you. Does that, and all the gold dust starts falling from the sky. And Cody gets a little creeped out and leaves. And then, similar to when Goldust taunted Val Venus back in the day, he starts taunting Cody. You know, he has people deliver things to Cody, deliver messages to Cody, telling them, "Big brother's watching you. I'm coming for you, baby brother." He finally appears as Goldust, attacks Cody, gives him the Shattered Dreams. Following week, Cody comes out, calls out Dustin. He says, "I'm not gonna go through this with you. I've beaten you once, and if you want to face me again, Dustin, then I'll face you, but it's gonna be the last time." So he calls out Goldust. He says, "I have a challenge for you, and be here next week to hear what it is." Goldust comes out next week, and he says, "I'll put up the Intercontinental title against you at WrestleMania. You win, you take my title, but if I win, you retire. You retire for good. No more calling yourself Dustin, no more Goldust, no more putting a different type of paint." He can say no more 7, just as old WCW, jab there. "No more painting your face some different color and using some different name. You are done wrestling forever if I beat you at WrestleMania." Goldust accepts, and there's your setup. Title versus career. Goldust versus Cody Rhodes for the Intercontinental title. You almost never get it. You haven't had a Intercontinental title match at Mania for years. Like 5-6 years. I don't even count that Rey Mysterio JBL match. It was like 20 seconds. I don't even count that. And there's your match. Of course, Cody wins, retires Dustin, because that's the way Dustin wants it. And if their relationship is well enough, I would get Terry Rollins to be Marlena one last time and come down the aisle with him in the gold dress and a cigar and be Goldust. I don't know what kind of relationship Dustin and Terry have nowadays, but if they're at least cordial, if nothing else, she might like a WrestleMania payday. Even if she don't like him, she'll get along with him enough for one WrestleMania payday. Be Marlena one last time, and Cody could taunt Dusty and say, "I want you there." Have Dusty there at ringside saying, "I want you there when I end Dustin's career. When you see me walk out, be him on the grandest stage of them all and leave the Intercontinental Champion. One of your sons will leave the Intercontinental Champion, that me, and you'll see your other son's career come to an end. His broken shell of what used to be a great man," and just talk shit. You can have Dusty there. And after Cody wins, Cody can gloat and gloat and gloat as he leaves. Then Dusty gets in the ring, helps Goldust to his feet, hugs Dustin, tell him he loves him, and they leave together. There you go, in the Goldust. He can go back to his backstage job, like working with the Divas or whatever it is he does. So they go Intercontinental title here. Jack Swagger, U.S. Champion. Who do we got? Brodus Clay is a possibility if you want to have him win a secondary title this soon. That's an option. Or put them both in a Money in the Bank match. But Brodus, I don't know. I think Big Show's been in Money in the Bank before. Brodus ain't gonna win Money in the Bank, but he can still be in the match. If not, if you don't want Brodus in the Money in the Bank match, I think Brodus versus Jack Swagger for the U.S. title could be a pretty fun match. What other faces we got that could be ready enough in time for WrestleMania to face Swagger for the U.S. title? Because I think Ryder should have his match with Kane at Mania. That would be his WrestleMania moment. Then later down the line, maybe he could try to get the U.S. title back. So you need a face to go up against Swagger. Ain't that many. Justin Gabriel's not big enough for it. Kofi's a possibility, but Kofi's been U.S. champion before. Is that really? I don't know. It just kind of feels stagnant for Kofi. Like, Kofi just doesn't get anything out of winning the U.S. title again. At least Brodus Clay gets something out of it, winning the title for the first time. Don't know if Rey Mysterio is going to be back in time. If Rey's back in time, you can put him in Money in the Bank as well. I know they wanted to. I heard a lot of people say they thought they was going to do Rey versus Sin Cara, but Sin Cara's not going to be back in time for that, so that's off the table. Looking at the roster, I think that might work here. Yeah, Jack Swagger and Brodus Clay for the U.S. title. That could be a good match for WrestleMania. You know, lower card opening match. And for the tag team titles. Alright, so we got Epico and Primo, heel champions. You got Babyface tag team with the Usos. Another possible heel tag team. I actually liked a little bit of Kurt Hawkins and Tyler Rex. I haven't seen a whole lot of them, but I like what I've seen of them. Them some dudes that definitely defend. You know, that mid-card, lower-card group of guys, they could really use a faction. You know, like Trent Beretta, Tyson Kidd, Tyler Rex, Kurt Hawkins. Putting them dudes together as a faction would do them all some good. Anyway, somebody, I think I was on Bleacher Report, and somebody suggested this. Justin Gabriel and Kofi Kingston as a tag team. One's from West Africa, one's from South Africa. They're both big high flyers. That could be a team. And you could have like a 4-way match for the tag team titles. Kofi and Justin Gabriel versus the Usos versus Epico and Primo. And maybe 1/4 team. I was thinking Hawkins and Tyler Rex is possibly a team. But, or you just make it a 3-way, leave Hawkins and Tyler Rex out and just make it a 3-way match. Divas. Everybody's thinking Beth Phoenix versus Karma. I don't know. Well, first of all, I don't know what this idiotic thing they're apparently doing with Natalya farting on TV. I don't know what that is, but Jesus Christ, what the hell? You wonder why everybody does, when people quit WWE, they do shoot interviews saying how they just killed their passion. This is the kind of shit they're talking about. But as a special attraction match, they've been doing this thing with Natty and Tamina, kind of going at it. And this may not be WrestleMania worthy. It could work as like an opening match, maybe a dark match. But what about, since both of them are second generation female wrestlers, both of them have fathers who would wrestle, what about a father-daughter mixed tag match? Tamina and Superfly against Natalya and the Anvil. I'd like WrestleMania or not, I'd like to see that match anyway. They could do it on SmackDown, I'd still like to see it. I think it would be a fun little match. It don't have to last long. It could be like a fun little, you know, like 9-minute match. Both girls could get a spot on WrestleMania. You get to see two legends. I think it'd be a fun little match. Tamina and Superfly could win. You can end it with a match with Tamina and Superfly doing dual Superfly splashes. Get the double 1-2-3 pin. You know, Tamina and Natalya. Each girl gets to have a WrestleMania moment with their father. I just think that's adorable. Any other undercard matches I can think of? Let me run through them. Okay, AJ, Oksana, Del Rio, Alice Riley, Alicia Fox, Beth Phoenix. Yeah, it's still looking like Beth Phoenix versus Karma. That'll be fun. You know, give them two a good 10 to 15 minutes. That could be a great match. But I don't think they will. We'll probably get another, you know, 10 Diva tag match or some shit like that. Big Show, Booker T, Brie, Berkeley, Jericho. What did I say about Jericho? Oh yeah, Jericho versus The Miz is a match I would have done. But it looks like he's going after Punk anyway. But you know, if he wasn't going after Punk, Jericho versus The Miz would have been a good match. But if Jericho's going after Punk, then damn, 3-way. Jericho, Miz, Punk for the WWE title. Because I don't know where else you could put The Miz. Because I think he's too big for Money in the Bank again. Sheamus and Daniel Bryan are going to be one-on-one championship match. Your main event, Rock versus Cena, is a one-on-one match, a good three-way match. Jericho, Punk, Miz for the WWE title. Miz gets the headline WrestleMania again, like he said he would. They always tend to do the pre-show battle royal at WrestleMania. So what we got here? Pre-show battle royal. We got Alex Riley. We got Booker T could be in it. Otunga, Drew McIntyre, Ezekiel Jackson, Heath Slater, Hunico, Jinder Mahal. See here, Johnny Curtis, JTG, Kane. He can either be in the Kane. You want him on the card. He could be in Money in the Bank. Crap, I forgot about Mark Henry. No, Mark Henry can face Kevin Nash. That's right, never mind. Mason Ryan could be in the pre-show battle royal. Michael McGillicuddy. Ted Jr., Great Khali, Trent Beretta, Tyson Kidd, William Regal, Yoshitatsu. There's your pre-show battle royal. So, yeah, I think we're good here. So I'm already at 36 minutes and 10 seconds, so let me go ahead and wrap that up. So there are a few ideas. I don't have notes, I just thought of all this off the top of my head. Most of these won't need a lot of storyline. You just have some challenges, a couple back and forth matches to set up the tag match, the Divas match. That's really all you need. So, yeah. That's about all I'll say. I wish there was more to it. Ecstasy is, but like I said before, WWE just doesn't inspire me creatively the way TNA does. So anytime I do a video booking WWE stuff, it's not going to be as well thought out and planned. Just no inspiration. It's hard to explain. There's just not enough characters in WWE for me to really get behind to get my creative juices flowing. But it's almost 9 p.m. I'm gonna find something to listen to and get my clothes out the washing machine and go to bed. I gotta go to work in the morning. Anything else I want to say? Thank you and BlackRock316 for sending me questions. Anybody else want to send me a question to answer in a video, just hit me up in my message box and I'll answer in a video. That's about it. So this is the Shadow Ranger. Thank you for listening. If you like my videos, please subscribe. You can follow me on Twitter at TJSMITH3 and have a nice day.